We're going to look at our problem again that we've been dealing with. And we're going to be now comparing profits and the number of degrees in the circle. We will not be using the percent, although we remember the percent is in the chart. Now we know we have $600 in profits. And we know in our circle there are 360 degrees. The first number we talked about was somebody earns $150 of the profits. And how to show that on a circle graph. So we would have $150 in profits is in the same position on the chart that 600 is. Same relative position as the number of degrees we need to represent it is to 360. And when we solve this proportion, we get an answer of 90 degrees. And we draw 90 degrees on our circle. So here's an angle of 90 degrees on our circle. And this angle of 90 degrees represents $150 in profits. The next number we looked at was $180 in profits. And again, on our chart, if you remember, 180 is in the same relative position to 600 as the number of degrees we want to represent it by is to 360 degrees. So there's our proportion. And when we solve this proportion, we get an answer that n, the number of degrees in our angle, is going to be 108 degrees. And so now we continue drawing 108 degrees from our angle of 90 degrees. So 108 degrees will intersect the circle there, and we draw the radius. So this angle is going to be 108 degrees, and it's going to represent $180 in profits. And finally, we were looking at representing $270 in profits. 270 is in the same relative position to 600 as the number of degrees is to 360. So here's our proportion. And when we solve this proportion, we find out that n equals 162 degrees. So an angle of 162 degrees on the circle graph is going to represent $270 in profits. And when we draw this angle, we find that it ends right there. It intersects the circle there. So this is going to be an angle of 162 degrees and is going to represent $270 in profits. So when we want to draw a circle graph, what we do is we set up the proportion. The amount from the total over the total equals the number of degrees over 360. And this will tell us the number of degrees that will be needed to represent each of these numbers on the circle graph. And so here is a circle graph of the profits based on $150 in profits, $180 in profits, and $270 in profits.